Hello, hello. Welcome back to the football room. The new season is upon us. The Premier League is starting, La Liga is starting, Bundesliga is starting. Football is back again. The World Cup gave us some good moments, moments that changed people's lives. A lot of players got, to be transferred, got to new teams. And particularly we're going to be speaking about the Premier League. I think it's going to be exciting this year. A lot of teams want to redeem themselves. Arsenal obviously want to keep the title because they hadn't won it in a while, and no one wants to just give it away just like that. So we're just basically going to be breaking down some of the transfers that have occurred, and hopefully through that we can see which teams have got a depth in squad, which team can go on and eventually probably beat Arsenal to be number one again. So let us see all the transfers that have occurred. I think the World Cup is always like a good teaser of what's going to happen in the transfer window, because a lot of players are obviously playing, hopefully, to be seen, so it's going to be pretty interesting. It's going to be and the transfer window is also not closed, so might be in for a lot more. Let's start off with Arsenal, since they are obviously the champions of England at this point. They hadn't won in a long time. First things first, they signed Bruno Guimaraes. Now, obviously, we know Bruno from Newcastle. He also played in the World Cup for Brazil. I think they're just beefing up that midfield. Last season, people spoke a lot about how, for example, Declan Rice was getting tired towards the end of the season, how many games he had played. And you have to understand, he's playing week in and week out. They also reached the end of the Champions League. They made it to the final. And people are saying, okay, maybe give Declan Rice a little bit of a break. But they've got Nogard as well. So, I think Bruno just adds to that midfield, He's someone who can act as like a box-to-box. He can play that box-to-box position as well. And I think also he can play holding if necessary. So it's going to be pretty interesting to see how Arteta is going to utilize him in that position as a midfielder. But I think it was, when all is said and done, I think most Arsenal fans that I've actually heard speaking were just saying, let us beef the midfield, let us beef up the midfield because, we see that Declan Rice, sometimes he gets tired, which is understandable because, when you're playing as many games as he is, especially in the Premier League, the intensity, at the end of the day, you also go to England, high expectations, most people actually thought England were going to win the World Cup, if not at least reach the final. So that just shows you that this is all Declan Rice playing all these games at a high intensity, and it gets tough. So I think Bruno is an experienced player. He was also, he had captained Newcastle. So I think he also brings in a bit of experience, a bit of leadership as well there. His leadership qualities. There's some photos where you see him in tears after a win because, it just shows to show you how much it means to him to be able to play for the badge, to be able to play in the Premier League, and to be able just to play football in general. Obviously, like we said, he played for Brazil as well during the World Cup. Unlucky that he had missed one penalty, but nonetheless, man, it happens. That is football. Moving on to the next player that Arsenal had signed. They signed Christos. They signed Christos from Club Brugge. Now, Christos is obviously he's a winger. He's a winger. Trossard he had transferred to Besiktas. Martinelli, there's some rumors that maybe he might leave, he might stay. So I think obviously they needed to also beef up that left wing position. I think the departure of Trossard, and obviously now the doubt of Martinelli either staying or not, that is going to be seen because obviously the transfer window is still open. On the right-hand side, they've got Saka, they've got Madueke. So I think those two covered each other pretty well last season. Madueke brings a different profile because he's more of a willing runner. Okay, Saka also runs a lot, but Madueke has a bit of a, bar line, let's cross. Saka as well, bar line, let's cross. He has a bit of favor, a bit of dynamism, and Madueke also was not as injured as Saka. So I think those two balanced themselves pretty well. So it'll be interesting to see if Arsenal are either gonna sign another winger or they're just gonna say, okay, Martinelli is not going anywhere, these two are going to be competing on that left hand side of the attack. So it'll be pretty interesting to see. He has scored goals, obviously, and obviously for him to get that move to Arsenal means that there was something that was doing pretty well. And this is Arsenal, by the way. This is the champions of England, so it goes to show something. And then they obviously signed a keeper. The Sunday keeper as well from Leeds, Ilan, I believe. He was actually in the Premier League. I remember with Leeds, he's good on his feet. Obviously, they went down and they got relegated, but now he's back. I think he's also gonna act as probably second or third choice goalkeeper for Arsenal as well. Moving on to Manchester City. This is pretty interesting because Manchester City signed Elliot Henderson. I think we saw Henderson play in the World Cup in that midfield with Declan Rice. And it's safe to say that he is honestly a box-to-box midfielder. He's got a lot of energy. good pass of the ball as well. It'll be interesting to see because Manchester City got a new coach, right? Rodri's obviously departed to Barcelona. It'll be interesting to see how and what position he's going to play. Are they shifting from the tiki-taka that we all knew them to be playing under Pep Guardiola? Or are they going to be playing more direct, more energetic football in that midfield? Because obviously, Elliot Henderson has got legs. He is a willing runner. He's not someone that is shy of running. I think we saw that he covered a lot of ground when England were playing. So it'll be interesting to actually see how does Maresca use him in that midfield? Does he want sometimes to quickly transition? We saw Maresca when he was at Chelsea, and they had some different profiles in that midfield. But it'll be interesting to see how Elliot is going to fit into that Manchester City team. They had Reinders, who is more, I would say Reinders is more of an 8 to 10 type of player, whereas Elliot, I think he can play as a 6 as well. He can play as an 8. I would liken him as a same profile as someone like maybe like Valverde, as someone, for example, as the midfield guy that. I think Valverde type in the way that he runs, Soboska in the way that he also runs and the way that he wants to move the ball. He's not afraid to call for the ball. He's that energetic in that midfield. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how they utilize him as well. And then other players that Manchester City signed, there's like an academy player. They signed Jeremy Monga. I think everyone was just hoping to see where he was going to go because he had such an amazing, rise up into the Leicester City side, making his debut. I mean, he's still young, he's still a teen. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how that goes. They also signed another winger from France, second division, from Troyes. Matthias, so he's also like a winger, so I'm probably going to be playing with the U19 with the U19 U21 second Premier League. So hopefully we get to see them get some minutes as well, because that actually be dope. They also signed another goalkeeper, and two goalkeepers, one from Sheffield United, Charles, and then the second from Marseille, Rulli. Manchester United, another reboot that is occurring in the midfield. Actually, Elliot Henderson also once upon a time linked with going to Manchester United, because the departure of Casemiro meant that there's a bit of a gap in that midfield. People speaking about a defensive midfielder. Kobe Manu signed an extension in his contract, which is also good. Andros Santos. Santos moved from Chelsea. He goes to Manchester United. I would say Santos is a different profile, for example, from Elliot that we saw. Santos is more of a controller. He doesn't mind just being that one guy in the midfield, in the defensive line, getting the ball, trying to penetrate those passes, those breaking in between passes. He's not shy to step on the ball, to relax, and to see what is going on. So it's interesting because since Michael Carrick was also a midfielder, it's interesting to see the type of midfielder that he's gone for. Obviously he's peripheral as a midfielder, and as a midfielder coach now that he is, it's a different profile. You know what I mean? It's a very different profile. Andros Santos, yes, I could say there's some similarities between him and what actually Michael Carrick did, because of how good he is on the ball, of how composed he is on the ball. He does cover ground more in short bursts. He's a good reader of the game, so that means he can intercept passes, he can break those lines. So it'll be interesting to see his combination and who they will actually pay him with. For example, if you pay me the Kobe Manu, those are probably similar profile. Kobe Manu is more someone that likes to run with the ball. He's a willing runner of the ball. He can progress with the ball, whereas Santos can stay. Santos is more of a stayer. They've also signed Yuri Tillemans, again, another midfielder that Manchester United added. And I keep on referring to the fact that Michael Carrick was a midfielder himself. So the fact that they're beefing up the midfield just goes to show something. For him, that's probably it's obviously the engine room of most teams, if not many. But in this case, it seems like Manchester United want to make sure that midfielder is so solid because of how Michael Carrick probably saw the game when he was playing with other midfielders. Rui Tillemans, a lot can be said about him. He captained Belgium at the World Cup. He's a leader. Everyone knows that. He was at Aston Villa, did very well at Aston Villa as well in that midfield. He is more of I would say he's a hybrid of Kobe Manu and Santos as well, because he has that ability to step on the ball, but he also has that ability to progress the ball, to pass from deeper. He can also progress the ball, you see. So I think the midfield that Manchester United have actually gone for, especially the three, they actually complement each other. I know there's some rumors of Balemba also hopefully going to Manchester United. They're probably going to sign him. A lot of rumors have been going on. Fabrizio has been saying this, other people have been saying that. So it's going to be interesting. If Manchester United get Baleba, that he is a different profile altogether compared to the Kobe Mainoo, compared to Santos, and compared to Telemans. Because Baleba is basically your typical number 6. He's going to stay there. He's got the physical presence. He's also a left footer, which just looks aesthetically pleasing for a left footer to be playing in the midfield. I don't know if I'm the only one that actually thinks of that, but it's actually going to be interesting to see, okay, when Baleba is sitting there in that midfield, he's got the physical presence that Manchester United maybe, or that Carrick is actually looking for as well. So probably on set pieces, he's going to be useful because of his big frame. Nonetheless, when you see the Manchester United midfield, and the fact that they still have Cunha maybe who can play as a 10 as well. Amad Diallo, depending, he can also play as a 10 in those pockets. They still have got Bruno. They still have got Bruno in that midfield. So they have beefed up that midfield. You know, they've not yet signed any defenders. They never yet signed any strikers. It's that midfield. And again, I keep on referring to the fact that them signing this midfield has something to do with the fact that Carrick himself was a midfield. And obviously the departure of Casemiro to Inter Miami. And then we go to Liverpool. Liverpool got a new manager as well. The type of football that he was playing at Bournemouth was front foot football. I think we can say there were parallels to the Jurgen Klopp type of football, heavy metal football as we called it. He can sometimes obviously decide, okay, I'm going to be more conservative, but he is not afraid to attack teams. We saw what he did with Bournemouth. And the Sunday defended Jeremy for 60 million from Rennes. So it'll be interesting to see, okay, Konate departed for Real Madrid. So obviously this is someone that's going to come in also and put his presence there. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Jeremy is going to fit in that. Obviously they still have got Van Dijk. So yeah, I think as a young player playing alongside Van Dijk, there's so much that you can learn, you know. And he came from a league which obviously is known for a lot of talent, which is the French league. So it'll be interesting to see how he then, for example, fits into that defensive line. More so because Konate has left. It'll be interesting to see, is he the type of player that is more willing to step in with the ball? So yeah, I'm pretty interested to see how it's going to happen. They also signed a winger. Obviously the departure of Mo Salah cannot be emphasized enough. A legend for Liverpool, but now obviously he departs. He goes to Turkey. Looking forward to seeing this new winger, Victor Munez. Now, I saw a bit of clips of Munez when he was still at Real Madrid as being introduced. The one thing I can definitely say is he's got pace for days. I think that is the heavy metal football that Liverpool have been accustomed to, the side of the likes of Sadio Mane, for example, when Mo Salah was running down the wing. He is a winger that is not afraid to take players on. Someone that's got pace, someone that is fast, someone that is quick, and someone that is not afraid of the 1v1s. And I think Liverpool fans here, the fans here are going to be excited to see. And I'm also interested to see how he goes on. They've got obviously the young, talented, young England player as well. So it's pretty interesting to see. You know, they've got Rio, so pretty interesting to see how they maneuver that. They obviously signed another defender, which is Araujo. We know his time from Barcelona. He also played for the national team. He plays for the national team of Uruguay. Interesting to see how him and Van Dijk are also, or even Gemma, are going to be paired up. He's got pace. He's got the physical presence as well. Like I said, if Liverpool decide to play the heavy metal football, that means at the back also you must have some defenders that are able to quickly recover balls, who got the pace to cover in, because obviously if you all go forward, the whole team needs to move up so that you don't divide the pitch into like attackers only and defenders only. So it'll be pretty interesting to see. They also saw another defender, Duque, but there were some rumors that maybe he might just go on loan, get a bit of more experience, get a bit of more game time. But yeah, another player that Liverpool signed. And then we go to Chelsea. Another manager who was a midfielder getting a role. I think we've all seen what Xabi Alonso did at Bayern Leverkusen. You know, the style of play that Leverkusen were playing. I mean, they basically broke the dominance of Dortmund and obviously Bayern Munich to win the Bundesliga. That's actually going to be pretty interesting. So these are some of the players that Xabi Alonso has rooped in. And if you see the type of players that they've rooped in, it reminds me of what he did, for example, when he was at Leverkusen. Him saying, okay, Granit, I need you to be in that midfield for experience. They brought in Welbeck, right? I mean, most people thought that Welbeck was actually going to make it into the English squad, you know, maybe as a backup or something of that sort. But his presence as someone that has been there, done that. I mean, he's played for Manchester United, he's gone to Watford, he's gone to Arsenal. It just seems like a guy that people want to be around because of his great leadership skills. I mean, like we said, people expected him to be in the English World Cup final squad because he had actually played well for Brighton and he's actually scoring despite of his age. I think this is someone that Xabi Alonso saw and be like, okay, we need someone that's going to help the young ones up front, someone that has got experience, someone that's willing to guide them, someone that's not only a good character on the pitch but also off the pitch. And I think Welbeck is definitely a good fit. Just seems like someone that wants to get up on playing football. And I know that a lot of an expert has been saying that you cannot win the Premier League with youngsters, and you need. Okay, that is Mr. Sinam and John Obi Mikel was saying that you need a bit of more experience up front to help the youngsters to compete. You know what I mean? So I think Xabi Alonso, this is something that he's done. He's not afraid to go get someone for experience. He also brought in Henderson in that midfield, again, someone with experience, a lot of experience, when he was at Liverpool, all the trophies that they won, so it goes to show you that Xabi Alonso was thinking, okay, I need to rebuild this squad. They probably told him that, okay, you can rebuild the squad as much as you like, how you like it, because of the type of players that he's actually bringing in, the more older players, rather than what we saw from Chelsea when they were bringing young players, for example, the last 2-3 transfer windows, and some of them were selling them on or loaning them to Strasbourg to get some minutes, and then after that, then they can go and get sold. So it'll be pretty interesting to see how that works. They've also brought in another defender, like Crooks. He is now a French international. So it also be they're also beefing up that midfield. We saw him playing for Crystal Palace, so it'll be pretty interesting to see how he also comes in, fills in that role. They also brought in Bako. I remember watching Bako actually play as a left back, and from how he was playing at Strasbourg, he was sometimes playing as a midfielder, another left-footed player, again aesthetically just pleasing. I don't know why, but I don't know, a midfielder that's left-footed just looks good. So yeah, Bako, Argentinian international. Pretty much interested to see in that midfield. They've got Henderson. Remember, they've still got Caicedo. Reece James can come in that midfield as well. They also brought in Morgan Rogers. A lot has been said about him. Was he gonna go to City? Was he gonna go to Man United? Was he gonna? The rumors when they begin to start. But ultimately, he signed for Chelsea. I'm pretty interesting to see what he's going to do when he scores. Is he gonna hit the code celebration, because he started it, and obviously now he's going to be playing with his good mate Cole Palmer. So yeah, Rogers, I think a lot can be said about Rogers. He can play different positions, on the right, on the left. Is he going to play in an attacking position? Is he going to come from the left-hand side? Because obviously Garnacho departed. So obviously, is he going to come in from the left-hand side, probably playing that role, Cole Palmer playing in that midfield as a 10, probably. Mostly that's going to be his position, because last season we saw that he was playing a lot from the right-hand side. He was cutting in. But obviously him playing as a 10 with his creativity, sometimes he lobs the ball, sometimes it's the through ball that breaks the windows, lines, by the way. So yeah, pretty much interested to see Morgan Rogers, how he's going to adapt to the Chelsea team. They've also brought in a defender from Atalanta, Marco. So yeah, man, these are players that... Some of them are still young, some of them have been proven in the Premier League, and some of them, for example, like Marco, obviously coming from the Italian Serie A, coming into the Premier League, adaptability. Most people say you need to adapt, you need to do this, maybe you can adapt quicker, you never know. You know what I mean? Because obviously, as a defender, we all know how the Italians defend very well. The Italian leagues defends very well. Most people, it's a more defensive structures. From the interviews that I've at least watched, that's the structure of the Italian league, very tactical. So I think obviously Xabi Alonso, being someone that is also tactically astute, he also looked at that and thought, okay, he's going to fit into the type of system that I would love to play, So yeah, I'm pretty much interested to see how that's all going to unfold. Chelsea also signed, by the way, a striker from Strasbourg as well, and they just announced him. They signed Emmanuel, so yeah, pretty interesting to see. Obviously, you've got now Nicholas Jackson might be leaving, because remember he was at loan at Bayern Munich, so he might be leaving. Emmanuel comes in. There's also Welbeck there. There's Delap. I don't know if maybe Delap is also gonna move or is gonna decide to stay. So there's gonna be some young strikers. Obviously, they're going to have Welbeck, so it's going to be pretty interesting to see, man. Pretty much interested to see. Obviously, we still have Tottenham. Hello. Tottenham signs Tonali. Looking forward to seeing how he's gonna fit in, right? So let's just see, for example, I'm just look at the Tottenham team here. So Tottenham signed Tonali, and then they signed another midfielder, which is Fernandes. Yeah, they signed a lot of players. This is like a real bit of Tottenham. I'm actually excited for Tottenham. I can't lie. I'm actually excited to see how Tottenham are going to play because I didn't want them to go down. I also didn't want them to go down. I did not want them to go down. Most people can say, yeah, they wanted. I did not want Tottenham to go down at all. So these are the players that Tottenham have signed. Obviously, they've signed Tonali from Newcastle, Fernandes from West Ham. They've signed a central back, Van Hag from Brighton. They signed Manesi from Bournemouth. That's a defender. They signed a goalkeeper, Martin Druvavka from Burnley. And they also signed a goalkeeper. I think this was a permanent Kingsley. That was a move that was, I'm assuming, was made permanent. This is basically a whole rebuild. The coach that Tottenham have is a coach that absolutely wants control. A coach that knows exactly what he wants. We saw what he did when he went to Brighton. We saw what he did when he went to Marseille. The type of football that he's played. There's some clips that have been on YouTube about him demanding certain things from players. I mean, if I am a player and that coach is coaching me, a coach that you can see that he saw what happened last season, they survived, he came in, they survived. Signing for him means you know the demands that are basically going to be placed on you, the demands that are needed from the coach. And if a coach gets you, I think this time, obviously, a lot has been said about Tottenham signings and not spending money. Well, they have spent money now. And them spending money on these players means if we get you in, that means we need you to do A, B, C, D. We need you to be part of the family. We need you to help us move forward. And we, as the Tottenham team, are also going to help you, make sure that you reach your full potential, your best. So I'm really excited about this Tottenham team. I think this Tottenham team is going to probably surprise a lot of people. The signings that they've made are excellent signings. They've also have a lot of Premier League experience. I mean, they've got Andy Robertson. We know what he did when he went to Liverpool. We know exactly what he brings into the table. Someone that is a true leader. The captain of Scotland. Left back, running up and down. I mean, this team it's low-key underrated. And they've got great players, mind you. Some of them are obviously coming back from injury. Madison is going to come back in now. We saw a glimpse of him towards the end of last season. This season he's coming back. Obviously, he had the summer break. He's coming back. He's also thinking, this is now going to be my season. I didn't play last time because obviously he was injured, which is terrible for any football player, to be injured, regardless of amount of time, man. Injuries just, yeah, man, they're just tough. It's really painful when players are injured. I'm excited to see this Tottenham team. I'm honestly excited to play this, to watch this. I wish I could play, but hey, I'm still far away. So, yeah, I'm excited to see this Tottenham team. I'm excited to see the type of combinations that they're actually going to bring in because we know the demands of the coach. And I think that he was also once mentioned as when Manchester United were looking for some intern coaches. He also said but there were rumors that maybe he was linked to Manchester United at some point as well. The fact that he signed a long-term contract at Tottenham even before he knew whether they're going to get relegated or not officially shows him about the belief that he had in him coming to Tottenham and saying, I want to establish this team. I want this team to move forward. There's so much that has been said about Tottenham, the amazing stadium that they have, the amazing facilities that they have. Everything just seems up to par. And there comes this coach. So I'm really excited to see the type of football that Tottenham are going to be playing. Kuzo is also going to be coming back from injury. That's also a lot of players are coming back from injuries. So it can only be exciting. I'm excited. I cannot say this enough. I am actually excited for Tottenham. And I mean, they don't have any Europa League. They don't have any European competition to play. Maybe some squads people end up saying, okay, maybe they don't have the depth because they're playing on a Wednesday or Thursday and Sunday, Saturday, Wednesday, Saturday, Thursday, Sunday. Tottenham basically, I would say they have all the time in the world, but they're not in another European competition. Of course, they've got the domestic competitions that they're still in, but the squad is going to be, quote unquote, more refreshed, if you want to put it that way. Really interested to see. I can't say this enough, man. Tottenham is going to cook something. I have a feeling Tottenham is going to surprise people, and I hope they do well. I honestly hope they actually do well, man. I honestly hope they actually do well. So, when all that's said and done, who is going to be the Premier League champions come the end of the season? That's a tough one, I won't lie. I honestly don't even know. I've absolutely no idea what's going to happen because all teams, excluding Arsenal, have in some shape or form changed. Either the managers, the players that they've brought in, the philosophy also means it changed. The energy levels have also changed. A lot has been said about when a new manager comes, you get that, that honeymoon phase whereby everybody just... Obviously, the Premier League is not winning on the first day, but definitely it's a good springboard to be winning your first games. It's a long season, yes. Who's going to win the Premier League? I do not know. I couldn't even mention who's going to be in the top 5 in what order, But nonetheless, man, I'm looking forward to the Premier League beginning. I hope we're going to be doing more of this, probably breaking down the games, in more depth, in more detail, learning as well. So yeah, man, I'm actually excited to see what's going to happen. That was all in the football room today. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. We are definitely going to be in touch. And yeah, man, see you soon. Thank you for watching. Hello.